evening, which is always a special one for the people who love 12.5 laps.
I'm losing my voice in 3 3/4. I wonder what's going to happen over 12.5.
This is the Paul Banta Memorial 5,000 meters. Paul Banta, last year at the Stumptown Twilight, he was narrowly edged out by Eric Jenkins in the 5,000 meters, so looking to take some revenge. But here we go.
We are off, folks. I think there's, if the start list is correct and all these men have showed up, which I think that they have, because no one is missing an opportunity to run a great race right now. You've got a few guys that have come back from the 10,000 last night, which I literally cannot fathom, running 25 laps and then coming back again today for a hard 10K. But we got Frank Lara in there. Frank Lara did a real gentleman's effort yesterday pacing that 10K. But Grant Fisher storming to the front, showing us that 1,500 is pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas Radcliffe also got a 1,500 meter in his legs. I don't see either Mark Scott or Woody Kincaid in the field right now. So this is a field absent of Bowerman Track Club athletes. So it is one that they cannot add to their team standings. They got a point there with Carissa Schweitzer. But Dillon Maggard here on Thomas Radcliffe's heels, right in front of Frank Lara. And they're looking for about 63-second pace, which would get them that 13:13.5, which is the world championship standard.
There you go. And an update on those team scores again. We have 2 for Bowerman Track Club, 1 for NAZ Elite, 1 for Union AC, and 1 for Oregon Track Club Elite.
I believe so. Wait, who took the other Bowerman Track Club? There's Carissa, and who am I missing?
I don't know, maybe it's just 1.
Yeah, I think it's just 1.
I'm looking to you for the updates.
Yeah.
I'm the color guy. You're the stats guy. You're the guy with the clipboard.
I got all these stats.
Grant Fisher coming through in 134 through 600, which is just right around that 62, 63 pace. So they're right on schedule, as one might say. Dillon Maggard, that person that we are not sleeping on, sitting right there on the heels of Tom Ratcliffe.
Yep, there he is. And then you got Frank Lara behind Dillon Maggard there. And Patrick Dever, the Brit, the 10,000-meter NCAA champion from 2021, also ran a great 10K down at the 10, I believe 27:23. So he's got his world championship standard in that event already.
We're lacking a wave light, but what we lack in wave light, we make up for in ambiance. Look, the fans here are a knowledgeable crowd. They know what they're seeing. They know what's at stake for all of these runners. And this is single file, stretched out about 30 meters down this track as these men power on, coming up to 1K. Grant Fisher's work for the day is just about done after that 1,500 meters, and they're coming through in 2:38, 2:39. Oh, Grant Fisher's moved out and tucked back in. Interesting.
They're rotating around there.
Rotating Ks. I stand corrected.
So we do have, we have Thomas Radcliffe up in the front now, and now Grant Fisher behind him, Dillon Maggard, Frank Lara, Patrick Dever, and then Pat Tiernan behind Dever, and Sam Chalanga is in there as well.
Sammy Chalanga, one of my favorite athletes to watch. There a few years ago at the U.S. Championships when I was in Drake Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa, where he was doing this incredible fartlek, sprinting 200 meters and then jogging 200 meters, and sprinting to it and just really testing the field, yo-yoing them, testing their mettle, seeing what they were made of. And man, he's always an exciting person to watch, had an incredible career at Liberty, and has gone on to have a pretty impressive career on the roads and on the track as a pro.
So still clicking off 63s here, and yeah, they're in good hands with the Red Lightning Express up here. They came through 3:10 through 1,200 meters, and this is 3.5 laps here. But everybody's still trying to go to sleep as much as possible and save their fireworks for the last lap, whatever smoke they have to throw at each other.
Yeah, by virtue of seeing some of these guys out in lane 2 now, I can't quite tell if the pace is lagging or if it's yo-yoing a little bit. And that's one of the dangers of being towards the back of the pack when things start to speed up in the front, and then you have to sprint to catch up, and then you have to slow down because you're running to the backs of the competitors in front of you. But that yo-yo effect, it really does take energy out of your legs. Grant Fisher's back up in the front, and they came through 1,600 meters, 4 laps in about 4:15. So They're looking still right around that 13:15, but Grant Fisher, it does seem, has picked the pace up again because maybe it was just lagging for a second.
It did lag down to 67 for a bit there at the front.
That explains the bunching.
So the guys are out front here. Dillon Maggard is in that first position for the racers that we have on the track, and Bia Simbasa also behind Sam Chalanga, looking to do some damage here. And we could see Ribich is hanging on to the tail end, David Ribich of the Brooks Beast. And he said to me before tonight's race that whenever he steps to the line in the electric forest, he comes to win. And that's a mentality that I like to hear, especially in this sport where this day and age, a lot of athletes are rightfully so going after qualifying standards. But what I really like to see is some good old-fashioned racing and gunning for that victory.
Absolutely. He's positioned himself pretty well. He's moved around this cluster of three that's sort of fallen off the back. Still running a very impressive time, mind you. But the front of this race it's really starting to go as you see a slight gap opening between Sam Chalanga and Bia Simbasa. This pace, Grant Fisher is really forcing it right now. He's telling these guys, come on, you want to run 13:15? This is what it takes. I know exactly what it takes. Come with me. Let me help you. As he comes through with 6 laps to go in about 5:53.
It is fantastic conditions here right now, too. 62 degrees and not a hint of wind. So these guys are running in a perfectly still meadow in the woods in Portland, Oregon.
Here comes my brutal honesty. It isn't always perfect in the electric forest, but right now, it is.
Last night, it definitely wasn't perfect.
It was not. Far from ideal, but the competitors last night did the best with what they had.
Gave way to perfection tonight. And
okay, glad to see that gap that which had formed sort of between some of the competitors is now closed. And Frank Lara seems like he's just maybe popped. Sam Chalanga makes a good move around him, and all these guys are going to be forced to go around Frank as these athletes, they're just trying to find every last second in this 5,000. The difference between 13:15 and 13:16 is that potentially your fate is sealed by the time you step on the starting line in Eugene.
13:20 is the time to get in for USA's. So that's what some of these men are looking for here.
You got to think at the front of the pack that their sights are set a little bit higher than that. When you have someone with the caliber of Grant Fisher who's willing to come out and do all of this work for you, Grant's going to take them through at least 3,000 meters, which means, or was that, no, that's not 3K yet. They're 2,400 meters away from the finish. So Dillon Maggard is making the signal, come on guys, I've been up here the whole time. Someone help me out. He's making that look over his shoulder, but all these other athletes are like, look man, we're running as hard as we can. We're doing everything we can just to hang on.
They also know that there's a good prize purse on the line for them, too, so they don't want to give too much to their competitors.
Absolutely not. If they've already ticked that box of having that championship standard, they're saying, I'm racing this race. And that's happy to run fast, but I want to win.
We talked about the positioning of this meet on the calendar previously, too, but it's in that nice spot where there are some people who have to gun it for standards, but there are others who have it already and are just looking to step to the line to practice racing. And that makes for a deadly combination there as we get this close to the championship.
All right, Grant's 8 flat 8:01, which is 13:20 pace. If these guys want to run that world championship qualifying time, they are going to need to get moving. But again, it looks like once that pacer dropped out, and maybe it's because these guys saw a time slightly over 8 minutes, this is going to turn into more of a tactical affair. It's going to be more of like a 13:23, 13:24 style race. Who knows? Only time will tell. Do not turn it off. Do not look away from the screen. But we have a field of 5 up front right now who are very tightly bunched together. Single file, but tight. 5 meters separates 5 runners, and that is impressive running, coming through 2 miles in about 8:30.
And all extremely capable, too. Any one of these men could take the front and take the reins themselves and push the pace. But they're letting Dillon Maggard do it at the front, and he just gives a glance over his shoulder, because he's wondering if somebody's going to help him a little bit. And it looks like he's maybe attempting to pull out and have Dever come up, but he doesn't want to do that. And that's some gamesmanship there.
Absolute gamesmanship. Another thing I got to talk about is you got to enjoy some of these brands who have come into the sport in the last couple of years. Puma really making investments, especially on the domestic front, in American-based programs. And so having 3 Puma athletes in the top 5 here, a few years ago, we had 0. So fun to see other brands entering the space, but Dillon Maggard continues to push the pace. That was a 65.2 on his last lap. His official 3K split was about 8:02. That's just over 13:20 pace. And you got to think that these guys might have something left in their legs for that last lap. But don't leave it to that, guys. Come on, keep pushing. Keep searching for that 13:15.
Because Maggard looks so good right now, too, at the front. And you could tell that he's holding back slightly because he definitely wants to win this thing. But he's giving away precious seconds while he's doing that. The last lap was 65 seconds. And showing everybody that he still has a lot left in the tank.
Just shaking out the arms. Shaking it out.
So taunting the crowd and his fellow athletes behind him, letting them know, hey, yeah, if you guys aren't going to come to the front, I feel good. I could take this thing as long as we want to go.
I'm beginning to sense with a 64.8 there from Maggard that his sights are set more on collecting that prize purse at the end of this race.
And if that's the game that he wants to play, then it's up to the other runners to try
so
and
it
change
shall
that.
be played.
And I'm all about it. Let's get some racing going here.
We know that Jeff is a big fan of the racing, and we are down to 4. The pace is fast enough that you're getting people who are just barely hanging on, and then when they pop, man, your day is over in a 5K.
Yeah, there's probably no coming back. We just saw Blaze Farrow unhitch his wagon from that front 4, and he's in the 5th position, a little further back, probably all the way back now, maybe 50 yards. But this is Maggard still up front. Everybody's just letting him take the pace, and you could sense the anger building inside of him. As
And
Patrick
here comes
Tiernan,
Big Patty T.
the man down under from Australia. You know they run track the other way around down there.
That's what I heard. 2 laps to go. What can they muster? Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see these guys run under 2 minutes for their last 800. Every single one of them is capable of it.
Hey.
Dillon Maggard just led 10.5 laps behind the Rabbits for these guys. The least they can do is offer to change the pace a little bit and put the pace down.
It's always a great day when you can close a 5K in under 2 minutes.
It's always a great day.
And Patrick Tiernan at the front now. Dillon Maggard, 2nd place. Patrick Dever, and then Sam Chalanga hanging on. So Chalanga's got a 13:04 best, but he hasn't been in that form for a while. That came maybe a decade ago. But right now, he's hanging on to the lead pack. Not quite a decade ago, 2014. Sorry,
All right,
Sam.
8 years ago. Oh, Dillon Maggard's beginning to show a little bit of that effort. Again, as I said, when you get put up against the ropes, it's a narrow line that you're walking. Oh, Maggard's fighting back. He's saying, guys, I am not done yet. I love this. Dillon,
There's the bell.
recharge. Here's the bell. 13:20 with a lap to go. If they can run a 55-second lap, they're in that 13:15 range.
Who's got the smoke right now? All 4 athletes are in it. It's Pat Tiernan up at the front, then Dever, and then Dillon Maggard and Sam Chalanga. It looks like the 2 Puma athletes in the front. Oh, here goes Pat Dever. It's the Pat battle here down the back stretch, and he
Pat v.
takes the
Pat.
lead.
And he looks like he's got a lot of run in those legs. He is absolutely striding out down the backstretch, but don't ever count out Patrick Tiernan. This guy's an absolute monster. He's done some incredible racing in his career, and he does not want to lose this race as he comes back on Pat's shoulder with 120 meters to go. Alistair Craig, their coach, shouting them encouragement.
We got
Both
a
these
stretch
athletes
battle between teammates shaping up down Paradise Alley. Here comes Patrick Tiernan and Pat Dever trying to take the win from his teammate, but he won't get there because it's Tiernan into the finish. And with a look
And there's a battle for third because you know there's prize money on the line. Dillon Maggard secures that 3rd place in about a 13:23 finish. 13:19.14 officially for Pat Tiernan, going under 13:20 with a 58:32 last 400 meters.
And we'll have to check here, but I believe 13:19.14 could be a new meet record. But it's a win nonetheless, and another team on the board with Puma Racing Elite.